Yes, sir. We getting them. I'm gonna make sure that you are seeing this amazing image by the man Moses Brown. So, back to back, we face against the Houston Rockets once again, and we managed to catch a W. We started off going crazy, 20-5 within the first 5 minutes, but then things fell apart pretty quick when we went small ball too often, when we just get cooked inside. We're just getting out rebounded, especially by Alperen Şengün. And but then we just Tyloo finally did something a little bit different. He put Moses Brown. He pretty much swung the factor, and then we eventually won the game. So let's go player by player. So Jalen Green, he scored 22 points. I heard he's been doing pretty bad. I heard something that he went 8% for like mid range or something like that, which is I don't know, but this game he did all right. He did have a lot of missed shots, but at the same time he went 9 for 17, so he did pretty semi solid for a score. But like he didn't drop 30, but it wasn't really bad and everything. But same with Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr. was more the guy who was kind of like lighting up. He was knocking down threes and all that. He took advantage of Ivica Zubac in some of the, like when he would switch. So both of them got the buckets. Alperen Şengün was like their best player of the night because how much of a good rebounder he is, and his playmaking is pretty interesting to see as well too. And and his hooks is just crazy, and his post skills is just like he's just pretty fancy. He does some ballerina shit. Like he's just friggin' just twirling around and friggin' just score that shit over whoever was guarding him, which was pretty annoying to face against. Alperen Şengün could be something pretty special in the league. Like honestly, if I had to give a level ranking or a player comparison, I would say he's like a between of a Domantas Sabonis and a Nikola Jokic. He's kind of like a hybrid of both of them because he's a good rebounder like Sabonis, and his post skills he's like a Hall of Fame double machine. But while Jokic was just on a whole new level, but it's hard to be on Nikola Jokic level. But Şengün he's pretty good, and he's been doing pretty good for the past. Well, at least from what I've seen, he's been doing pretty good lately. And then other players, Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith, ooh, I don't know. Like, do you guys think Jabari Smith is gonna be a bust, or is it too early to say? Because I'm not gonna lie, like I thought Jabari Smith would be a lot better than this. Like I would think that he would have some solid handles and be like kind of like a Michael Porter Jr. the for the Houston Rockets, but I don't know. Like like back in Auburn, he was crazy. He was like playing really good defense and all that, and he was just cooking people, just being all around. But I don't know what happened to him. But again, like I said in my previous video, I might give him the benefit of the doubt because he is more of a younger prospect, and usually younger prospect, like we'll see if he's really who he really is within the next 2-3 years. If he like elevates his game, good for the Rockets. If he doesn't, it'll be like not really good to see. But he was like 1 for 10, which is missing a lot of shots, and his defense was semi okay. Well, like I should say okay to a little bit above average, I guess, because his length. But Paul George just managed to make shots over him, so that's that. And then pretty much the role players they did all right. Like especially I forgot Garrison Matthews. He made some threes. Kevin Martin Jr. He wasn't as doing as crazy compared to last game. Usman Garuba got some runs, and Usman Garuba it could definitely be a pretty solid role player down the line. Like he has this big body frame, set some solid screen. He's like a small ball lineup type of guy, but he could play big man in this modern day NBA. In the 90s and the 2000s, I don't know about that, but in this era, he could definitely run the small ball since the NBA is more about like kind of more guard oriented. But now let's get to the Clipper side of the spectrum. So Reggie Jackson, he was better compared to the last. I don't know, like I don't know how many games, but the last like whole pretty much better than the whole entire season. He went 4 for 11, which is like could definitely be better, but it was like in the high 30s, I want to say, but like it wasn't as bad compared to other games where you just straight up just shoot us out in the game. Well, honestly, it's just probably like a pretty big slump. Hopefully, Reggie Jackson can figure it out. I know a lot of people turn on Reggie Jackson, but let's not do that. Let's try to support our boys, and because I'm not gonna forget what Mr. June did. But should Reggie start, I would maybe just rather have Wall start because he brings more ball movement and brings more pace. And but Reggie he was more better tonight. He even has some efforts when he tried to get some steals and all that. So pretty interesting to see. And his game is just driving to the basket and getting some lays, which is again that's the Reggie we like to see. But then let's get to Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard, 2 for 3, pretty efficient night, and he's been getting boards lately, which was pretty crazy. Like he gets more rebounds than Ivica Zubac himself. That's just astonishing. That's just crazy. Luke Kennard is growing all around, and it's really nice to see. He's not just a shooter; he can rebound, he can play make, and his defense improved as well too, which showed a lot of good improvement. And then Ivica Zubac, another player who improved a lot. His defense elevated, and he was actually more of an interior defender compared to I would want to say 2 years ago Zubac or last year's Zubac. He would actually be like a really good presence inside the paint, and even like when a guard would just switch up on him, he would actually contest that real good, and it would result in a miss. For example, Kevin Porter Jr., one of the most shiftiest guard in the league, but Zubac managed to contest the shot really good. Yeah, when he got dragged out the perimeter, he definitely got scored on, but at the end of the day, Kevin Porter is a really shifty guard. He's not no average Joe. He just Trey Powell on Zubac for one possession, but Zubac, shout out to you as well too, and him setting screens, which is really great to see because nowadays not many bigs they set like really good screens. They would set a lot of soft screens, which is But Zubac he sets the real good screens and which will result to an open man or it will be a beautiful pick and roll. And we actually fed Zubac more, which is that's what we love to see. When we feed Zubac more, he always scores more than 10 points. That is something that the Clippers is definitely improving on, and it's getting Zubac the ball because last year Zubac was really getting all the force feeds and he was not getting like fed as often. It was more of shooting threes, which is, we like threes, but at the same time, try to feed Zubac as much as you can because he's a really good type of guy who would back you down and get a nice hook shot or get a nice dunk. And then let's get with Paul George. Now Paul George, he's cooking it up. A lot of people, they were overreacting about Paul George when he was missing a lot of shots. And I told y'all in the last video, I said, one of the last two videos, I was like, hey, let's relax. Let's pump the brakes. Paul George got an illness, which is, it might sound minor, but just remember times when you got a common cold or when you got a fever or when you got, I don't know, like just basically when you were sick. It's not fun. It's painful. It's hard to do something when you're sick. And Paul George just recovered. That's when his muscles are kind of fatigued, so it would result him to miss a lot of shots. But then what I tell you, not Tuesday night. Wait, what? Yeah, Monday night. He hit that game winner on Eric Gordon. In this game, he did not disappoint either. 28 points, which is pretty good as well too. Got some assists. And also, if there's one thing that we could kind of like say about Paul George is when he takes a lot of shots, when he gets aggressive, that's really good to see. Like he has that type of mentality that, yeah, I'm the guy, take a lot of shots. Like sometimes Paul George might play a little bit too passive, so that could also probably contribute on why he performs poorly at times. But hey, I don't forget what Paul George does when he's at his best, and neither should you guys watching this video. Marcus Morris. See, I have this little triangle of the most improved. It is Luke Kennard, Ivica Zubac, and Marcus Morris. All of them, they just elevate their games like a good amount. Marcus Morris, now he's more of a better defender compared to before. He's not as much of a concrete feat. He actually stays in front of his opponent a decent amount of time, especially when guarding Kevin Porter. Pretty impressive from my perspective. And he was draining some threes tonight. And also, he still does this nice little turnaround fadeaway, which is pretty amazing to see. And he was a little bit more of a rebounder, so that's another thing we like. Like if I had to give a comparison, I should say comparison, but more of an analogy. This is like the Boston Celtics Marcus Morris when he was going toe to toe against LeBron James in defense, and when he was actually a threat on defense. He was not like like the 2020 Marcus Morris. The 2020 Marcus Morris, man, those were the painful Marcus Morris. He was just streaky. He was just missing shots and everything. If he scores more than 10 points, I would have been a happy camper. That's how bad Morris struggled at first, but now he's doing a lot better. He scored, I believe, I want to say like 22 points, which is pretty good for Marcus Morris, and we like Morris to like average at least like 15 or 16 points a game because man, the scoring would help so much. Then we go to the bench. John Wall. I noticed John Wall has been taking more threes quite often, and I respect his confidence, and it's not like the percentage doesn't look pretty, but it's not bad. It's not Russell Westbrook bad. His threes are it's like pretty close. It's not like the side of the glass and everything. And his shot selection is pretty smart too. He doesn't chuck up shots like how Westbrook does. He does not shoot 0 for 12. He would pretty much try to set up plays. He would try to shoot some mid ranges, and he would make the pace go a lot faster. That's why at the moment John Wall is the better guy to start than Reggie Jackson, but we'll see what really happens. And then you got Norman Powell, which is, eh, Powell's been, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly, when we even first got him, like, a part of me low-key felt Powell was more overrated because I thought he was everybody's golden child. And personally, I'm more of a Brandon Boston Jr. guy. But Powell has been, he's been, he's been pretty rough lately. His shots have not been falling. His defense was, sometimes he would get scored on a lot more often than people would like. And a lot of people are kind of like going hard on Powell. And obviously, everybody have their ups and lows. Powell, I guess I don't really remember how well that he actually did, but he wasn't like, but he was more of the quiet side of the spectrum of tonight. He is slowly starting to gain some rhythm back, which is pretty solid to see. We could probably use Norm Powell as a trade piece to get a really good draft pick for the upcoming draft because that's my personal asset that I would go after for. Or, have him win the championship with us. We'll see. And then you got, well, obviously Robert Covington's not here. Kawhi's still not here. I believe. Let's see. Amir Coffey did pretty decent. And who else? Brandon Boston Jr. didn't play. And I'm trying to save Moses Brown for last, but Nico Batum. Nico Batum, he he had a lot of, like, Batum's also like more of a player that's kind of like on the quiet side of the spectrum. Guys, lately he's like, I always say he's like more of an Iguodala type player. He doesn't really do too much, but every few moments when we would need some spark, Batum brings it like a good amount of times, and Batum's have been nothing but pretty good for us. And he didn't make that one little crazy 3-point shot, and he even got an and one. He was kind of like Lou Will just drawing a foul, and which is pretty amazing to see. And then, best for last, Moses Brown. Moses Brown, when we first saw him play against, I would say, the Portland Trailblazers and the Denver Nuggets, he was more of an unplayable side of the spectrum. He was just like very clumsy, and I guess he was like, how to properly phrase it, he was more on the slower side of the spectrum. But at the same time, I was one of the people who supported Moses Brown more in the beginning, where a lot of people, they just kind of like crapped on him and everything. They just assume, oh, since he's not a NBA veteran or anything, they just write him off. They just say, oh, let's go for Whiteside, Turner, Boogie, or whatever. But I was like, let's give this man a shot. Let's see what he does. Maybe Brown has a lot of, at the moment he has a lot of intervals. Like, he has a lot of moments when he's just more on the unplayable side of the spectrum, but when things get going, at least from this game, he just showed that he can also be a momentum guy. But if we're up to me, obviously I would have Diabate as the backup big much rather than Moses Brown. But if he plays like this, I'm cool with seeing it. And Moses Brown, he was just straight up dunking the ball, and he was playing better defense. He was not. He was actually not fouling. He was playing more of the verticality type defense. He was not just like going jumping on you. He was just kind of how Roy Hibbert plays the defense when he was with the Indiana Pacers. And he was a lot faster too, and he basically brought the momentum, which is very exciting to see. And let me know what you think about Moses Brown's game. In my opinion, it was in this game it was pretty exciting, but Moses Brown does have a lot of things he can definitely work on. as a big man. This is the reason why I would say I would much rather play Moussa Diabate, because Moussa Diabate is just, his floor is really high. Like, you cannot go wrong with playing Diabate. And you have a way higher upside. With Brown, the floor is really low. Like, it could go wrong easily when his things are not going to his favor. Like, one big factor that I would love to see Moses Brown work on is his screens. The way how he sets his screen is like, it's honestly not really a screen, because like the player does not really get screened. People would just go through that really easily, as opposed to Zubac or Diabate set the screen. The players would actually get screened, and it would result in a pick and roll or a wide open shot. But when Brown does it, it doesn't really provide as much of an impact, especially when he tried to create a screen for Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson still wound up taking a really smothered shot. So that's one fat thing he could definitely work on. And obviously, he could definitely work on his hands too. People say Zubac has a better finger, but Brown has more of a better finger at the moment. But like I said, he brought energy. So that's pretty good to see. I also said he's honestly a Rudy Gobert type player. I'm not saying he's anything as good. I said more of like he's a salmonella Rudy Gobert. He's very, very raw. But in my opinion, he could definitely be a certified solid NBA role player within at least like 5 to maybe even 10 years, just because the tools he has. But is he gonna be like a all-star superstar? Maybe not, but he could definitely be some team's solid big man. But anyways, glad to see us winning. We're, I want to say, 4-4, which is we're 50%, slowly catching up. Honestly, I would love to. I'm still gonna get on Tyronn Lue, to be honest with you, because his rotations, like, it's better since at least he's getting a young guy, but maybe not the young guy I'm looking for, but at least he got Moses Brown playing, so that is something, I guess. But let's be real. Musa Diabate and Brandon Boston Jr. should be playing. Like, Musa Diabate should play every game, while Brandon Boston Jr. should, for now, I would say just split the minutes. I want to say, like, every 3 games you play Brandon Boston Jr., and then the 2 out of 3 games you just play your Luke Kennard, your Terrence Mann, your Amir Coffey, your Norman Powell, just to boost their trade values. And then on trading day, we could just use them as a consolidation trade for a really young role player or a pretty good draft pick. And then you would officially free up minutes for Brandon Boston Jr. But yeah, that's just my opinion, and be sure to leave a comment down below on what you think about this game, and I'll definitely get you on in the comment section. And as y'all know, peace.